So, Henry, 30 years on the go. Talk to us.
30 years ago, I remember the early days of Expert Print. We actually inherited that business, my wife and I, and we bought that off a lady called Jacqueline Elliott, as it was then, who was working in short, sort of part-time. And it was done from a point of they wanted to sort of start a little social enterprise type business to earn a bit of money for church work and stuff like that. So that's how it happened. And then I came in and started doing a wee bit of sales, sort of part-time. Then it started to grow. Then it got to the stage where it became too much for the girl Jacqueline. So then we actually bought the business from her. And then we started to evolve from there. What I remember, and you can elaborate on this, you were working for a company called Better by Design, which unfortunately didn't go the way everyone had hoped. And then you and I aligned our hearts together to pursue growing sort of creative through. You come in as a designer. And that's what I remember in the early days. So it was really, really cool in regards to, I hadn't a clue what I was doing, by the way. Probably still don't.
Well, the thing I loved about the early days was that the internet didn't exist, and we were learning what worked, what didn't work. I remember even proofing jobs that we would have to drive down to a customer with a printed sheet and
That's
show
right.
them this is what we designed for you, and then drive back with it. And it was such a waste of time.
That's
Whereas
right.
you can do these very quick proofs of concepts really, really quickly with people. Like, we work all over Europe and the UK and Ireland, and we are able to send our artwork off very, very quickly to people now, and it's such a different landscape now than it used to be. And in a bad way, you've lost that personal connection with people.
Yeah.
That instead of the days that we would have drove down, had a cup of coffee and looked at the artwork with people, you were building these mad relationships that you don't have them as tight as you used to back then. But the thing that I love is the amount of things that you can get done nowadays. So with AI, with video, with a bigger team that we have as well, that we're able to do so much more. And every day it's just a roller coaster of content going out, instead of maybe it being like one or two pieces, which
Yeah.
is what we would have done back in the day. But it's amazing that 30 years ago that we were not doing anything that was digital. It was everything
No.
was printed, and it was analog, and it was the old print machines and things like
The
that.
metal plates, remember the metal plates, in which when we run a 3-4 colour job, you actually had to have 4 metal plates, which actually you run. And I remember my wife started to learn how to print on the AB Dick, if I remember right, the actual print machine.
How could you forget that name?
No, I do forget that name for sure. And the problems she had in alignment and stuff like that, and going back up to you, and the artwork's not right, Chris, and blah blah blah, and all
Yeah.
that sort of stuff. And you're right, and it's good to reminisce about some of those things back in the day where we actually started in the old dark room and stuff like that to make negatives, the stuff. And what was it? We used to do deals for business cards, 500 business cards for 50 quid,
Oh, it's
or 75, and then 1,000 for a 95 quid. It was absolutely choke when I think about it, when I look back now. But they were times that have served us now, because you said, because our business is very relationship based, and we haven't lost that ethos. That we are, we don't mind getting on a plane to go to England or Scotland or Wales to actually meet clients, or even invite clients out for dinner, or even drive down to Galway or Dublin or whatever. So we haven't lost that. I think obviously the industry has massively changed.
Yeah, when you look back at where we had started 30 years ago, the amount of content that we're making now, and the types of ads that we're running, that you couldn't have ever seen it 30 years ago where we would end up. But it's amazing now that we're able to come up with so many concepts, put the guys in the action, and then get it live and run as ads now, that whenever you're looking back, even after a week, that you can get so much done and so much going out. And life is so much faster now as well. So when we look back 30 years ago, if you were printing something, it was like a 2-week lead time.
That's right.
Nowadays, you're shooting an ad, you're maybe putting it in the edit and live within 3 or 4 days, and everything is just so high paced. And it's good because it keeps you on your toes, and it keeps you learning new trends, and it keeps you looking at new things that are going on in our industry. I spend a lot of my free time literally researching what's working right now, because what's working today in 2025 isn't going to necessarily work even first month of next year.
Next year.
So everything changes so quickly, and that's what I love about the job. And it's forever learning, forever refining, forever measuring, and seeing what's working, what's not working. So Henry, in the last 30 years, we've changed our agency. A lot of people are saying, right, you start out as expert print,
Yep.
and then you just moved into Creative 3.
2012. You and I said, right, okay, because I was ready to give it up. If you remember, right, I was done. The recession nearly killed the business, nearly killed me along with it, and I fell out of complete love with the actual industry. I think I didn't understand what was going on. What tends to happen is, and this, I mean this for the audience, is that, you know, if you go for a loan now with the bank, they'll ask you who is your biggest client, and if it's anything over 40%, if you're in there for a loan or something, they'll actually potentially knock you back. And at that particular time, if you remember right, a lot of the work we were getting from was from the charitable sector. And 70% of our business, I believe, probably in the round at that particular time, was from the charitable sector. And that was one of the first things that actually was hit. Funding.
Just no budget, yeah.
There was no budget. And I was like a slow death. And then in 2011, I said, Chris, I'm done. Please take whatever we have. Take the debris, the ashes from the floor, and go and make a life for yourself. And then
it's too dramatic.
I know, but that's where I was. I was obviously gone. My serotonin levels in my head was absolutely gone.
You were hard to work with.
Oh my goodness! But I flatlined big style. But the reality is, I got my head around, and then I said, "Let's align our hearts." And then Expert Print morphed into Creative 3.
Creative 3. I remember whenever we've called it Creative 3, everybody was thinking, why did you call it Creative 3? And they had 101 reasons for why we call it, from the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit, to you only do 3 things a day.
In fact, the only employee we had at the time was Alex Moore.
Yeah.
And she actually got really confused because she thought it was the 3 of us. Right. And she thought, I'm not creative. Stop saying Creative 3. I'm not creative. And I said, stop making this about you. It's not that. It's a company name. You plank. Take yourself out of the equation. So that was really funny.
Yeah. So for clarity, it is web, print, and design. Whenever we had first set it up, but it's become so much more in the last couple of years, and it's the reason why we've brought out this whole new channel of what we do, which is the Surge. So you're watching this right now, and this is the Surge agency, because what we do is separate from the creative stuff that we've done in the last 30 years. That we needed a separate track for this part of the business to run on. So what we've set up is a performance-based agency that only focuses on getting performance-based ads out to go. So for us, we've spent the last 30 years refining how to make good content, how to make content that works. We've done billboards, cinemas, ad shells, printed campaigns, hundreds of thousands of books, all sorts of stuff all over the years. And we've figured out this is a waste of your money. This is a really good place to place your money. And especially in the last maybe 10 years, digital has become first. And it's because you can get so granular with it, and you can target the exact type of person you want and be super targeted with them and get results for your customers. So it's lovely that we see every morning little pings coming up in our lead center showing that we've got the right person connected to the right customers. And that is my new love affair, is that I really, really enjoy connecting customers to our customers and giving them value now, that whenever they see our ad go out, it actually feeds their business and puts money in their pocket, instead of it just being a nice, pretty thing, which is what we focused on for 30 years, making the pretty stuff, making the things that give your brand credibility. That still has its time and its place with Creative 3, but for Surge, what we do is push traffic, push sales, push leads, and we put our money where our mouth is. We guarantee people that we will get you more traffic, we will get you more people calling your business. And it's scary, but it's exciting, because you know that you're putting your reputation on the line, and if you don't do it, then people are going to ask questions. But because you are doing it, and because you're bringing the right people to their business, or the right bit of traffic into their e-com store, it puts a big smile on your face.
No doubt. It comes down to the data. Back, as you've already said, back in the day, we would have created some fantastic stuff that I'm uber, and I'm sure you're so proud of, that we actually put. But the reality is, it has to put food on the table, and it has to, the actual creative we have put out, as much as it is fantastic. And I've watched some absolute pants stuff convert in the marketplace, which then, as you've said, we've had to merge. And I think we're coming at it from a really, really positive angle, because we do create really, really good content on a whole. Sometimes we've made some mistakes and some poor stuff that just comes with the territory, but you use it to get better. But we're taking that knowledge, taking that creative, taking that banging content and saying, right, there's your market, there's what they need to hear, there's the hook, there's the message, there's the product. And we then tweak, change, and amend that. And that's the exciting thing, is that, see, if it's wrong, it's okay, but don't stay in wrongness. Make it work.
Yeah, one of the big things that I've kind of picked up in the last couple of years is that a lot of people think you just make one good ad and put it out there. So like we came from the TV background, where we were making one 20-second or 30-second ad, and you had one go at it. You could just make it and you put it out in front of people, and you went, I hope this one works. I hope it's going to actually convert. And TV's changed as well in the last while. That linear TV now, you can get really targeted and you can put your ad in front of the right people, which is beautiful and it's great. And I'm so happy that TV's actually evolved from where it used to be. But when it comes to running social media and content, because of AI, we've seen a massive shift in the types of content that you're putting out there and the amount of content that you need to make for campaigns. So as a creative agency, it really suits us, because we're so good at making content, so good at making loads of pieces of content that we can test and scale and split test against other pieces of content very quickly. So instead of us just making that one piece, which a lot of companies I think fall on their sword with, is that they make maybe 1 or 4 ads and think, right, that's going to do me for the year, where 1 or 4 ads is a drop in the bucket when it comes to AI, because people are all at different parts of their journey. There's some people who are maybe top of funnel, that they're a cold audience, they have no idea about what your service, your product is, or they're maybe in consideration stage, they're in the middle of the funnel, and they're maybe thinking about, I need to go and buy myself a new watch or a new car or a new iPhone, whatever it's going to be. And then your bottom of funnel ads, which is basically, here's your special offer to buy the watch or buy the TV or buy the iPhone that you want to buy. And there's these different stages along the funnel in the customer journey. And some people don't focus on that. They just basically make one ad and hope it's going to work. Whereas with us, we're testing all those different stages. So if it's the top of funnel stuff, we're testing maybe 5 to 10 different pieces of creative, and then seeing which one works, helping that scale and helping that grow. And I think for anybody that's watching this podcast or listening to it, that's probably one of the biggest takeaways for me in our learning over the last lot of years, is that you have to meet people where they're at. So not everybody's ready to buy from you, and that could be top of funnel stuff. So you need to be educating them, giving them value, showing them the comparisons between your service or your product, and helping them grow their business or grow their ideas on why they need to buy from you or wrap your door or visit your website. So there's different stages, and then your consideration stage, where people maybe want to see what your product is and do a bit of digging about like what makes your product stand out better than maybe your
they're at the considerations.
So for me, it's a real strength for anybody that's watching this right now, that if you're thinking, where do I start running ads in 2025, 26, 27? How am I going to bring more business into my company or get more sales into my e-com? One of the biggest things that you can do is focus on harnessing the power of AI, because things have changed. No longer are you just putting up stuff and praying and spraying that it's going to connect to the right people. AI will go and find the right people at those different parts of the funnel. So if someone is only in consideration stage and they're not ready to buy, those pieces of creative that you make, if you make 30 pieces of creative over that month, AI will then find and place those pieces of creative for you and do a way, way better job than us mere humans can do. And it's unfortunate that we're being taken over by the robots, but it's also a very important thing that we're no longer spending money in ads to the wrong people, that AI is able to place your ad in front of the right people at the right part of the funnel as well. So for me, it's massive.
Yeah, no, it is massive. And you've said a couple of things there which you want to touch on, is the testing stage. You have the top, the middle, and the bottom of the funnel. Actually, I was looking at a funnel the other day, and the actual hook, the cold audience, had no correlation to the actual middle funnel. And I looked at it, and I went at it and looked at it, not from an interest point of view, and then I moved into critique. And maybe you can touch on this, Chris. In reality, is that there has to be an alignment obviously from top of funnel, middle funnel, they actually call the action, and that's where you want the action to happen down there. But there was a clear break between what hooked me, the actual story part, that consideration part, that delivery of what the actual thing that hooked me had no correlation with that. How important it is that when you're actually putting out ads, that you're not asking three different people in many ways, and usually they're not obviously creating a funnel, but it was like I was talking to two different people, and in fact, there were two different languages. How important it is to be succinct when you're taking someone on a journey from, I'm a cold audience, I've hooked, I'm now into the consideration product, story, stroke, why am I even reading this? Because I'm interested. And then obviously the call to action. How important is the correlation between the hook, the middle funnel, and bang?
Yeah, well, for me, we have a framework that we'll work with, and it's got maybe like 20 to 30 different angles that we'll test. But it's so important that you call out who you're speaking to. Yeah. Especially for AI, it needs to know who you're speaking to, who's your ideal customer profile, so we call an ICP, and we basically identify who is it we want to speak with, what pain are they having in their lives at the moment, and how can we solve it with a product or a service, and then giving them the option then to find out more or to buy from you, or to maybe see another couple of ads that help you learn testimonials and things like that. So for me, it's so important that we call the right people out, and especially for training AI, because you're relying that AI is going to read the script of what the video is. So what we're saying right now, AI will transcribe that, read the words, and then go, right, they're talking about business, they're talking about ads, and I'll put it out. And if you're watching this right now, more than likely you're seeing this ad or you're seeing this video because you know that you're interested in advertising, you're interested in running Meta ads or Google ads or LinkedIn ads or TikTok ads, and you'll see this content, and it'll really help you then get maybe a piece of value from it and learn and grow. And AI will use what you say and what you type and combine those two things together. So they're the two strongest pieces of information that you can give for your ads. So making sure your copy is right, and it's calling out your ideal customer profile, and it's also then hitting on the value that they want to get from you. So don't tell them about what your product is and all its features. Tell them about how your product or your service is going to make their life better. And if you do those things, and they're really simple, and that's what I always say to people, is that marketing is really, really simple. It's just we as marketers make it sound complicated. It's putting your right content in front of the right people at the right time, being consistent, and making sure that you solve problems. And if you do those things and do them consistently, it'll work.
Yeah, and actually we are going to be onboarding a guy here probably over the next sort of few weeks going into 2026. And this chap had, and I don't want to go into it in case I don't want to mention names, is that this guy had a marketer working for him. Yeah. And she was on a portion of money, and he basically, I said, well, tell me what she delivered for you. It was a lady who was actually delivering the marketing. And then he obviously turned the gun on me. He says, well, why would I want to employ you as an agency over a marketer? And I had to obviously educate him in what we would do differently for this particular business. And I had said, and this is how I pointed out what it was. I pointed out the pain points. You know, obviously he's got an audience out there. Why would your outside market want to deal with you? This is how we would actually did, which was part of in many ways your middle funnel, and how you as a business will actually deliver that. And they weren't doing that through the marketer. And this is not a ditch on marketers, by the way. It's not. We're a full agency with a lot of different sort of skill sets. And I started to piece out what we would actually do for him as a business. And here would be the call to action. And a lot of it was down to the story, the expertise, the professionalism, the depth of knowledge within the skill set of their team. I said, so tell me what has been different. He says, that's completely different. And I said, look, sometimes it's unfair for you to think, I'm going to bring someone in at X amount of £1,000 a year and expect them to be the best designer, the best marketer, the best email campaign, this. So I started to piece out just the journey and how we would portray them and from that, he obviously is going to come on board. And that's what it is for me. It's the journey and bringing your product out and solving the pain, but also bringing the professionalism and the brand proofing that a funnel will actually bring.
Yeah, some of the stuff that we've done over the last 30 years, we have done a lot of content and we've learned a lot of big mistakes that we've made along the way as well, from shooting stuff that we probably shouldn't have shot, making content that we probably should never have made. And we somehow 30 years later have still got an agency together that we're still trusted by big brands to represent themselves. And I think we've done a lot of learning along the way. So I'm thinking back, and this is probably one of my key things, is that there's a danger factor when it comes to recording stuff. And, and one time we had this client and he had said to us, he had bought himself this huge big ultra yacht. He became very, very wealthy and he had bought this yacht and he had wanted then to, as a sideline, open this business where he would ferry people from here to Port Patrick, which is over in Scotland, to do a golfing day and then back. So we love the idea of it. We says, yeah, that sounds amazing. Let's do it. We'll build you a website. We'll run ads for you, and we'll give you some printables and things like that. So he said to us, right, okay, it's a bit of a stormy day today, but would you just come out on the loch? So he brought us to Carrickfergus, brought us out on the loch with his son, put us into this little rib, which is like a high-speed speedboat, and he had said, right, just jump in there, no life jackets or anything on, just jump in, and we
had a suit on.
I think you did, yeah.
I had a suit on.
So I put on my camera gear in, and I had a huge big long lens because I wanted to like zoom across the loch at where he was jumping up and down on this big super yacht thing. So he put it into full pelt, and the rib was full pelt beside it, and we're running these two things side by side. And I remember sitting on the side of the rib trying to take the picture, and at one point we hit this wave and literally went flying away back. And I thought, this is where I die, over a stupid boat. This is how I die. And by chance then I landed badly inside the rib and hurt myself and probably damaged the camera and stuff like that. But I remembered actually looking back at that now and thinking how reckless that we were able to, like, that was a commercial job. We were out trying to film a piece of content. That's and right. We've learned so much since now. Like when we go out on sites, we've got steel toe caps for the guys, we've got high vis, we've got helmets, and we've learned a lot. We've got our insurances and stuff in place as well. Yeah. Whereas when you look back when you were first starting, you tried just to make it work.
You bootstrapped everything. Yeah. So remember the time we used to do the 10,000 A5 flyers for 70 quid.
That's right.
And if you went for colour, it was 95. I remember it so well. But I remember having this stupid idea because it was the time of the elections. And I thought, right, Chris, I've got an idea. Let's get election type posters done for 10,000 flyers for 70 quid. I think we actually put it up to 75. We took a risk. Put it up to 75. We were down at White Abbey, and we had the car filled with all these big sort of election sort of size A2 posters put onto Corey board. And we had the hammer and nails and stuff like that. You'll remember this now when I say it. Was that I was up the ladder and Christopher was behind me and I was trying to bang it in, but I must have hit the nail wrong. And the nail fired out and it hit Christopher in the eye. And he hit the deck. And I obviously had the hammer. Anybody driving by that particular time would have been standing holding his eye and me standing over him with a hammer.
Especially in the 90s.
I know. And that was a funny one. And the second one was that we actually had got this job. We were involved with a lot of charities. And this particular one wanted to do some sexual health awareness type leaflets, but they wanted to do it really, really high end. It was actually Neil Symington. Neil, you remember this if you ever watched this podcast. And he says, Henry, I want to do the actual leaflet in the shape of a condom. And he said, okay, it's a bit random, but that's okay. It was a wee bit sort of funny. But again, that was back in the 90s. And I remember, right, okay, so he got this large condom laminated. So that was all right. So we got it done. They actually ended up about £1 odd each. And we run them, I think we run about 3,000 or 5,000 of them. No, that was okay. So at that particular time when you were doing sexual awareness things, you were giving these condom dipping leaflets out. Big roll out thing. By the way, it was a class one. It was one of the things that actually catapulted us. You know, you get that controversial product.
Such a random job.
A laminated condom. So that was all right. So the next thing was we had them. I remember going out to this, I think it was either Fassa or somewhere at the time, And this young fella come in and go, I want them condoms, I want them condoms. And I said, I tell you what, where are all the condom sort of leaflets? And it ended up, the story ended up was that he says, I remember, I my mate Jack, who has them. Remember back in the day when you were doing, and maybe they still do it, where you put the wallpaper up and you put a border? He had a border full of condom leaflets right around his room.
Here's a player.
He was a player. So he must have stole about 200 of these condom leaflets from FASA.
As long as he didn't try to use them.
It was the dearest border at that particular time in Belfast, condom leaflets, all stuck right around his bedroom.
Yeah, so we've done genuinely a lot of like questionable pieces of video, and some of the stuff's been amazing. Like we've done some high profile stuff, some TV campaigns and things like that, and they've been genuinely. You've looked at them, you've went, how on earth did we land a client like that, and how were we able to do that? And it's not been from luck. It's been from actually turning up, doing good work, and people recommending you. And some of our best works usually come from recommendations. And the thing that I love is that for the last 30 years, we still have clients that have been working with us 25 years ago that still have a hand in with us, and we still watch their business grow and us helping their business grows. And that kind of stuff is really rewarding for me.
It is one of the most, I used Feared for Your Life in the Rib. Remember the day we went to a house near Bellevue Zoo and we had to get some digital prints? And we arrived at the house and there was a couple of cars parked outside waiting to get into the house. I didn't know what was going on. And this guy, I'll only say you call him Stephen, came to the door with brogue shoes on, with track bottoms and bare-chested.
His wife was a witch, wasn't she? A white witch?
I was getting that.
Okay.
His wife was a white witch. So we went in, said, here us, well, no, tea or coffee, boys. So if you ever hear us saying tea or coffee, boys, it actually came from this story.
PTSD.
Yeah, it really is. And we went in and walked through his living room. There was a guy lying on the settee who popped his head out. What the hell is going on here? There was somebody out in the conservatory, sort of half-dressed. And I'm going, what's happened here?
We were there for a print job. We were trying to keep everything professional, but
professionals have gone, hey, I'm only here for print. There was like, I don't know if they were taking drugs or drink or whatever. He was running out with the mom boobs out with his track bottoms and shoes on, going, tea or coffee, boys, as if it was normal. I said, Steve, I'm only here for the prints. So he said, I'll make you a cup of coffee.
He did do good prints, though.
He did. Fantastic prints. And then his wife appeared and looked at me, and she was all very engaging. And I'm going, what do? You do? She says, I'm a white witch. I'm going, this is too much for me. And I'm going, she says, have you ever, do you know what a white witch is? Here's me. See, to be honest, I'm not genuinely interested. I know what a witch is, but you're telling me, no, I'm a good witch. You know, and I'm going, okay, is that the reason why these people are parked outside? He says, they're here to make me. Yeah. What's the charge? And I'm going, love, I'm only here. This is too much for me to process.
And that's why most of our print is usually delivered to us from here on out.
You're going to my house? No, I'm not going to your house. Yeah. Who's in?
Yeah, you look back and you think, like, we have had crazy amounts of people that have came through the doors, and some amazing stories, some amazing brands, and you've had some people that, like inventors who have invented products, and they've shown you it, and you've went, that's genuinely amazing. And it's been nice to be involved in people who are pioneering things, and especially some of the clients that we're working with now. There's a lot of guys here in Northern Ireland who are so switched on when it comes to running digital businesses, and they know the type of content they need, and they need to spend high volumes in ads and keep that machine moving. And it's been lovely to watch, one, the innovation that comes from Northern Ireland, people finding an idea or a niche, and us being able then to power it for them and drive them the traffic and drive them the sales, and it's truly amazing.
It is. Sorry, Chris, I'm still on the stories. I remember this guy had owed us 850 quid, and back in the day, 850 quid was like 25 grand. But remember it was the paramilitary shooting, and they shot him, and I was panicking. I was panicking. Like, the guy was a nice guy. Like, what his history back in the Troubles is beyond me. But he asked his wife, says, "Look, tell Henry to come and see me." I says,
Yeah, and
"No,
we
I'm
needed
all
the
right."
money back then too
We
as well.
really
Yeah.
needed the money, and I had to go through police security to go in. And this guy was shot 5 times, 3 times in the chest, 1 in the neck, and 1 in the leg. And I went in, and I don't want to mention names. And he says, "You all right, son? You all right, son? Don't worry, you're gonna get paid." And I think back, I'm so thankful. The Troubles are over, and all our business has evolved. But you're right. Getting back to some of the serious stuff. So we did get paid. The guy did survive. I don't know what happened. That was my last job with him, because that was, again, I was traumatized.
Yeah.
Between white witches, condom leaflets, people getting shot. But like, if you ever owe me money, it doesn't matter what condition you're in. I'm coming to see you. Yeah. Like, there you
Okay,
go.
well, look, it was class reminiscing, going down memory lane there
Yeah,
for the
I'll
last
draw a line.
30 years. I think we probably need a bit of counselling or something like that along the way as well,
Yeah.
just of some of the moments we've had. But if you're watching this and you've enjoyed it and you're thinking about your own business and how you're
Yeah.
going to grow your ads this year or get more traffic into your business, genuinely, we have seen it all. We've done it all. And we know where good money can
Yeah.
be spent and where bad money can be spent. And we've seen so many misappropriations of funds over the years,
Oh, aye.
especially in public bodies where they
Yep.
spend huge amounts of money in the wrong places, and it'll give you like zero to little results. And for us, we want to see Northern Ireland businesses grow.
Yeah.
We want to show you how to do the things yourself. And if you can't do it yourself, we're here with a full agency of people ready to roll, ready to make your business sing and shine for the thing that it's good for. So look, if we've resonated with anything, please drop us a little comment down in underneath the video of whatever you're
Yeah.
watching, or the Spotify or whatever you're listening to. But encourage us to make more content, ask us questions, and we will tailor our content around
Yeah.
what scratches the itch for you.
You have to remember, and I personally want to finish with this. We went down the line 30 years. A lot of the guys see us now, and you think, yeah, you've got a degree of success and all the rest of it, which is really, really nice. But we remember where we started. And a lot of the guys that we're through the journey, we remember where you are and where we want to take you.
Yeah.
So there's not just we want to put money in your account because we value that, because we know what it is to live in plenty, and we also know what it is to live in lack.
Yeah.
So we value whatever your money you're investing in your business. We take that unbelievably serious,
yeah.
because we have been where you are. We treasure your seed money, that actually whatever your return of investment, your ROAS is, that if you're £1, our job is to make that a fiver.
Yeah.
That fiver, a tenner. That tenner, the 20. That 50, the 100. Because we know what it is. And our guys know this from a team perspective, is that we value, and as much as sometimes, because you've been there as a business and sometimes employees don't realise that, we try to impart that to your team. When these guys invest in us, they're investing real cash that they've worked really, really hard for. And we need to treasure it, not as our own, but people who are stewarding money to turn £1 into a fiver and a fiver into a tenner.
Yeah. Okay, so on that note, we're going to love and leave you, and thank you for watching this far. I'm Chris.
I'm Henry. Hasta mañana till we meet again.